Hi, thanks for joining me for another tutorial in Melinda's Rubber Room. I am Melinda Pierce and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm here today to show you how to make this bag. This is made from two 12 by 12 pieces of designer series paper, and it's meant to coordinate with the card that you can also make. So I'm just going to show you today how to make the bag and the holder in the front. Okay? So this is a project that I showed how to make in a recent Zoom class. I offer my Zoom classes Wednesday mornings from 10 to 12 and Saturdays from 10 to 12. You can jump over to Melinda's Rubber Room on Facebook and get all the latest information on upcoming Zoom events, along with any other specials or projects I might be making. I have a lot of tutorials over there, as well as the latest specials that are happening with Stampin' Up! So I would love it if you would join me over there at Melinda's Rubber Room on Facebook. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera down and show you how to make this bag. Okay, so you do need two pieces of matching 12 by 12 paper. You also need some regular cardstock to reinforce the bottom, as well as to make the holder for the front to hold the card. Sorry, I haven't used my stand in a while and everything seems to have changed on me. Okay, so I have my little cheat notes over here. Feel free to take snapshots of those if you need to. So again, I'm starting with two pieces of 12 by 12 designer series paper. And I'm going to decide ahead of time which is going to be my top. So I have a directional print on here. So this is going to be the top of my bag. So on the top, you're going to score at 2 inches along the top. This is the hand-pinned designer series paper in the main Stampin' Up! Catalog. And I'm going to do the same thing on both pieces of paper. All of the score lines are the same for each of the pieces of designer series paper. So again, that's 2 inches from the top. And then all of the sides and the bottom are going to be 3 inches. So you can actually adjust the size of this bag by changing your score lines on the sides and on the bottom. You just need to make sure that the score lines on the top and on the sides and the bottom are all the same. So you can make those 2 inches wide or 4 inches wide, depending on how big you want your bag to be. Okay. Lost track of how many score lines I did. Let me see. Okay, those are all done on that one. Okay, so this one, again, I already scored along the top at 2 inches, so now I'm going to score on the side at 3 inches. Make sure you don't push too hard on your score blade or it might actually cut through your paper. All right, so just to keep track of which score lines is the top, I'm going to go ahead and reinforce my fold at the top at this point. So this is what's nice about the double-sided paper, is that you see the other side of that pretty paper. That's going to be this top portion of your bag right here. Okay, and then you can go ahead and score on your other lines, your other score lines. And it's probably a good idea to bring in your bone folder at this time too. I'm just going to bring that in, especially here at the top where you have extra layers of paper. So all of the products that I'm showing today is from Stampin' Up. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you would like to purchase any of the products that I'm showing, you can go to my online store at www.melindapierce.stampinup.net. We are offering a special right now with Celebration, where if you purchase $50, you get free exclusive product that is only offered during Celebration. So all those details can be found on the online store. It's a great time to pick up those products that you would normally be buying anyway, because this way you also get some freebies along the way. So I like to stock up on my cardstock and some of my adhesives, just so that I can get the extra bonus of some freebies along the way. Okay, so now we're going to cut the bottom. So we're going to start from this fold line here and cut up to this other fold line. You're not going to cut this corner off. You're just going to cut up to the score line. Like so. And the same on the other side. And you're only going to do this to one of your pieces of paper. And go back and clean this up a little bit. Okay, and then on the other piece of paper, you're going to cut from the side score line, this side score line, to this corner here. So right where these score lines meet is where you're going to cut up to. Again, you're not going to cut that corner off completely. You're just cutting from the side to the score line. Okay, so now we can go ahead and assemble this. So all that's going to happen is we're going to fold this up on the score lines like so. So these two little flaps here get glued down to the side of your bag like that. And I would use a liquid glue or a really strong tape. You do want these flaps to stay in place. That just gets folded down. And make sure your corners meet up on the bottom. Everything should be nice and flush with the corners of your bag. Like so. And then go ahead and reinforce that glue. Make sure everything is in contact with each other and making a nice seal there. Okay, and then on the other half of the bag, we're going to bring these sides up and the bottom up. So these flaps are sitting on the bottom half of your bag instead of up on the sides. Okay, so you might need to go back and cut to make sure everything is flush. It looks like I probably didn't score mine exactly flush. Or I didn't cut it all the way. That's what the problem was. There we go. So if things aren't lining up perfectly, then go back and make adjustments at this point. Otherwise, your bag is not going to sit properly. So this is going to be on my bottom, so I'm not too worried about that little rip there. It's not going to show. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this up, bring the bottom up, make sure all my corners are matching, and go back and make sure that all has good contact. Okay, so now we want to reinforce the bottom of our bag. So this is where so we've done the 12 by 12 scored at 2 and 3 inches, the sides and bottom. Whoops. Then you have cardstock for the bottom that measures 3 inches by 6 inches. So I just have the pink here. It's not going to show because we're going to put it down here on the bottom, and then we're going to put this bag right on top of that. So you want to go ahead and glue down that 3 by 6 piece of cardstock. Again, it doesn't matter what color it is, just as long as it's a thicker cardstock, because that's what's going to give your bag the stability that it needs to stand up and support any gifts that you put in there. All right, so I just put that down in there. All right, now this bag, this other half of the bag, is just going to slide right inside of the other bag, like so. So you're going to want to put glue on these two sides, the sides and the bottom. Okay, so you can go ahead and glue this little flap down. I just find it's easier to make sure the side is being glued down properly. So I just have mono adhesive glue that comes in the green bottle. That's what I have in this container here. Okay, so I just glued that side. I'm going to glue the bottom. Again, I'm going to tack down this little flap. I find that by using the glue, you have a little bit more chance to kind of move things around a little bit to make sure everything is nice and in the right place. Okay, so this way I'm going to just slide this down, trying to match up my edges. Put your hand inside of the bag to try to get down there on the bottom. Make sure those seams are nice and tight in there. You don't want your bag falling apart. And if it's lifting off a little bit right there, you can just put your glue in there a little bit and squirt some more right along the edges. Okay, so now we have these flaps that are still kind of loose here. So I'm just going to tack that down, like so. All right, so there is the base of our bag. You can see how quickly that went together. And it's nice because you can make it right when you're about to give a gift. If you don't have a bag already, you can just make one really quickly. And it's especially nice if you have a card that coordinates with it. So I have this one that I had already made, so I can slip that right in there. Okay, so let me show you how to make the holder to put the card in. So you're going to take a piece of cardstock that measures 4 by 5.5, and along the 4-inch side, so the 4-inch side, you're going to score at 2 inches. So we're basically just folding it in half. So that's going to be folded in half like that. And then we're going to also score it a 1/2 inch from each of these sides. So along the 5.5-inch side, you're going to score it at 5 inches. Now on the Stampin' Up ruler, make sure you remember that there's measurements over on this side. So if I'm only doing a 1/2 inch measurement, I find it's easier just to slide my paper over past the score line to a 1/2 inch. And that gets me my 1/2 inch score line. Okay, so we are done with the cutter board. and the scoring. So now what we're going to do is cut this little section off here. So that's cutting from the 5.5 inch side. We're going to cut these little tabs off, just the ones that are on opposite sides of each other. And you want to cut off a little bit inside of your score line. And what that will do is allow you to fold this together and then fold these little score lines in. And because you have cut off a little bit more than the actual score line, that allows you to fold these flaps in easier. Okay, so looks like I have a little bit showing down here that I don't like, so I'm just going to snip that off. Snip this off. Okay, so now we're just going to glue this together. So you're just going to take your glue and adhere it to your little tabs here. So the reasons why the tabs are on the outside is so that they don't get in the way of your card when you slide the card into the holder. And this is going to be attached to your bag, so these little flaps won't show when it's attached to your bag. Okay, so that's the little holder. We're going to go ahead and decorate that a little bit with a piece of Designer Series paper, if I can find it. Here it goes. Okay, so this measures 4 inches by 1.5, and that's just going to go on the top like this. So I picked this pink because it coordinates with the pink top of the bag. So I thought it would be cute. It's a fun little way to use the scraps of Designer Series paper you have. Okay, so that's the decoration for the flap. And then we're just going to go ahead and glue the the card holder onto the bag. So when you place this on the bag, you want it to be pretty close to the bottom. So I'm just going to eyeball it right about there. It's maybe a 1/4 inch up from the bottom, maybe a little bit less than that. And you want it to be centered side to side. I'm going to put my hand in the inside of the bag just to give it more pressure for that holder. All right, so that is done. So now I can take my card and that will just slide right in like so. This is a little bit thicker card because it has a little gift card holder on the inside. But I think it will still fit. There we go. All right, so there is the completed bag. So cute. You could even add a greeting here if you wanted to. And then just pull out the card like that. Okay, so then you're going to take a hole punch, just a regular hole punch. A single hole punch, and what I like to do is when I'm punching my hole, I like to slide it all the way in as far as I can so that I know from the side to where the punch is going to punch is going to be the same on all of my holes. So depending on the size of the ribbon that you're using, you may want to use a larger or smaller hole punch. And then I'm just going to eyeball it on the other side. Hopefully it'll be pretty close. I can see where my other hole is on the other side of the bag. So it's right about there. Again, I'm pushing the punch in all the way. And right about there. All right, so there are my hole punches. And then I have 18 inches, 2 pieces of ribbon that measure 18 inches. Just going to insert those. And you're going to tie a knot on the inside. My holes are a little bit big, so I'm just going to tie a double knot, and hopefully that won't, oh, looks like it still might slide out, so I'm going to do a triple knot, like so. Bring this over, make sure it's laying nice and flat. Put it through on the other side. Do another triple knot. Like so. And if it does get twisted, you can just twist it and twist the knot on the inside so it's nice and straight. Oh, actually I did this one a little bit different. So this one is going from side to side, and this one is going from one side to the same side. So you do it either way. Okay, so then I'm going to take my other ribbon, do the same thing. So when you're tying your second ribbon, you want to make sure that it's the same length as your first one when you're done tying your knots, because that will change a little bit. It's a little hard to tie exactly the same knots. All right, so that is our triple knot. And you can see that this side is a little bit smaller than this side. So I'm just going to pull that string up a little bit and make one more knot in there just to make it a little bit shorter. Let's see if that does it. Yep, that looks pretty good. All right, so that is our completed bag. Hope you can see that okay. And then with our card that goes on the inside, slides in, makes a nice little gift for somebody. I did make a few other ones. So this was my original one. And then this one I did with the last year's Magnolia paper, and I actually colored in the background because it was just gray and white. So I colored all the little flowers and the leaves in. Don't forget that you can do that with the black and white paper. It's a nice way to personalize or customize your cardstock. And then I made one with the, I always forget the name of this one. I think it's In Good Taste. Designer series paper that has the wood on one side and the different texture look on the other side. So it's more of a masculine type of bag. All right, I hope you liked that tutorial and that you learned something new. That is my goal on all of my tutorials. If you have any questions, please write a comment. I would love to hear from you. And join me over at Melinda's Rubber Room so you can join in on the fun with us. If you like the video, please feel free to give me a thumbs up. That helps me know that I am doing something right. And if you'd like to buy any Stampin' Up products, please visit my online store at www.melindapierce.stampinup.net. All right, I hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.